A Utah soccer coach was following exactly process to get legal status. Very, very poor choice of words, I guess. But ICE arrested him anyways. He doesn't have a criminal record, and he's married to an American citizen. He's got a lawful entry, his attorney said. Take felons, not coaches. So ICE has detained a soccer coach who is following the rules to get legal status. Okay, so it's just funny to me. He's following the exact rules to get legal status. He doesn't have a criminal record, and he's married to an American citizen, and he got a lawful entry. So in other words, he entered lawfully, like within the first two sentences, he entered lawfully, and he's following the process to get legal, implying he is already illegally here. Now, I understand the debate. I'm not going to really get into it here, whether or not, if everyone illegal needs to go. I will say one of my favorite things is Trump said that he was going to prioritize the criminals, but he's going to deport everybody. And there's so many people on the left who keep trying to argue that, Trump's not prioritizing, Trump keeps going after people that aren't committing crimes. And it's like, well, yeah, he said he was going to do that. No, he said he was going to prioritize the ones that are committing crimes and doing very bad things. Yeah, do you not understand what priority means? You should look it up. There's a really funny clip of Tim Pool arguing with Brian Shapiro over this, and Brian Shapiro just couldn't seem to get it. It was just, it makes me laugh. Do you not know what priority means? And he just kept trying to change the goalpost or not goalpost. He just kept trying to change the subject. That's what it was. But here's the deal. ICE, DHS, actually made a post to this. And here's the Salt Lake Tribune's updated article. I'm going to go here first. So, disgusting and revolting. The Salt Lake Tribune has completely lost the plot in their indefensible spin for a sodomite and child abuser. Here are the facts. Hersilis Lacuna, I don't know how to pronounce that name, sorry, has a criminal history of sodomy of a child and sexual abuse of a child. He entered the U.S. on a tourist visa. Do I have to actually go to X? Of course. Criminal history for sodomy, whatever. He entered the U.S. on a tourist visa in 2007 that required him to depart by January 21st. On his green card application, he listed his On his green card application, he listed his occupation as a youth soccer coach. While illegally overstaying his visa, he was arrested for these heinous crimes against children. This predator has been placed in removal proceedings. If you break the law, you will face the consequences. We are not going to give green cards to child predators. Now, I think the updated article is saying that this is all alleged, so I'll say the alleged abuser. If he is an abuser and did this, he has to go. If he's not, I still think he should go. So the Department of Homeland Security alleged on Tuesday that a Utah youth soccer coach who has been detained by U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement has a history of child sexual abuse. A 29-year-old Utah father... What makes you a Utahn? I would say if you came here and you actually tried to assimilate and you don't commit crimes and you're here actually legally and not breaking the law, maybe you could call yourself a Utahn, but he's not a Utah father. He is a soccer coach, was taken into ICE custody last week during his final interview before receiving a permanent resident card, according to the man's attorney. He is married to a U.S. citizen and is now being held in the detention facility in Arizona. If you break the law, you will face the consequences. So we've just read that. In 2014, he was accused in 3rd District Juvenile Court with a second-degree felony allegations of sexual abuse of a child. So again, he came here in 2007 at 17 years old. So that means at this point he'd be 24, and he received a second-degree felony allegation of sexual abuse of a child, according to records obtained by the Tribune on Tuesday. Another allegation is redacted in the records obtained by the Tribune. The document alleges that between March 1st and April 30th, when he was 17 years old, he abused a girl. Oh, okay, so the 14 was when he was 17. I guess I got that wrong. I was assuming based on the 2014 date. So that's when he was accused, was 7 years later. So when he was 17, he abused a girl who attended his ward of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in Salt Lake County. So this individual is a member of the Church of Jesus Christ. He lives here in Utah. Currently, he came here on a tourist visa, overstayed illegally, abused a young girl in his church, and he was trying to follow the process probably because Trump won, and has now been detained by ICE. The juvenile court document includes a statement by Murray Police Detective Tyson Vandenatz, I don't know, who described his July 31st, 2014 interview with the girl who was under 14. So we don't know how much under. She was under 14, and the reason they say the 14 is because the law, there's different laws based on the age, and 14 is one of those cutoff ages. So if it's 13 or younger, there it can be upgraded to like first-degree felony and all that. This is a under 14, implying we don't actually know the age, and I don't think we'll ever know the age, but here we go. She told the detective that on a Sunday after church, as she and Silas waited for their parents, he told her to come here. He started kissing and touching her, she said, and she felt scared and like it was wrong, so she left. The girl also described 2 other occasions to the detective, according to the filing. Once she was in a room in a church building. Silas came in and closed the door behind him, and she said he touched her and made her touch his genitals, she alleged. On a different day, she was at a joint young men, young women activity at a church building when he sent her a Snapchat message to meet him in a different room. He locked the door once she was inside. Then he touched her and said she couldn't leave until she performed oral sex, she alleged, which she told the detective she did. Now, if this is another one of those cases where it's like someone lying, like a woman lying, I think she should also be held accountable. Like you can't just lie. But I kind of doubt she's lying. Like this seems more credible than a lot of the other instances, a while back during the Me Too movement. Not saying that all the Me Too movement was wrong. Of course, there was a lot of allegations that came out that were true. Things happen. I get it. An attorney for Silas, Adam Craik, contradicted the girl's account and asserted the contact was consensual. Both teenagers, consensual, upset family at the time. So here's the deal. It doesn't matter if it's consensual if she's younger than 13, because if you're younger than 13, you can't consent. So the fact that she's in Young Men, Young Women's at this time means that she, at the very least, was like 12, maybe 13 if she's younger than 14. So 12 or 13 years old. He's 17 years old. A 12 and 13-year-old can't consent, right? There's no, like, you're not allowed to consent, especially as a child. So how can it be consensual if legally they're not allowed to consent? Upset family at the time, but this was not this type of situation that DHS is making it out to be. They have literally lied to us all. They have absolutely lied. Now, if they did lie, fine, let's see that out. Regardless, here's my concern. He came in 2007, overstayed his 1-year visa as a tourist. So since 2008, he has been here illegally. At least my understanding of the situation is he has never tried to actually make it right for, what would that be? 17 years. So for 17 years, 2025 to 2008, I don't know. He didn't do anything to become a lawful. So regardless of these allegations, he still did something wrong. So in its post on X, the Department of Homeland Security said that Silas has a criminal history for sodomy of a child and sexual abuse of a child. The post says Silas entered the U.S. on a tourist visa in July 2007 that required him to leave by January 1st, 2008. So he's only supposed to be here for 6 months. On this green card application, he listed his occupation as a youth soccer coach while illegally overstaying his visa. Silas was at the green card interview with his wife when an officer asked to speak with the husband and wife separately. Attorney Andy Armstrong of the firm Stowell, Silas was taken into another room where 2 immigration and custom enforcement officers detained him. His family is fighting to have him released on bond. The story is developing. So first and foremost, my favorite part is, again, it always just comes down to the framing. I don't like the Salt Lake Tribune. They do this all the time. A Utah soccer coach was following exactly process to get legal status. First off, your wording is just horrible. Second, no, they didn't just arrest him anyways. For 17 years, that is not following the process. You can't just stay in this country for 17 years and then argue he was following the process exactly. No, what happened is he was in this country. I'm going to forget the allegations for a second. He came to this country. He overstayed his visa. Joe Biden let a lot of people in, and it gave a lot of people this feeling that, like, we can stay here. Plus, it sounds like during Trump's turn, he was here. Trump's first term that he was here. Trump didn't do anything, so he probably just felt safe. Then Trump gets this mandate from the people saying, we want everyone who is here illegally out. And he goes, shoot, I need to do something about this. I've married a woman here, a Utahn. Apparently he's a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and he wants to stay. So now he's following the process exactly. Okay. As a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, we hold that we are to be subject to kings, rulers, magistrates, in honoring and obeying and sustaining the law of that land. If you're staying here illegally when you were told you were supposed to leave in 2008, you are breaking the law. Okay? I don't care what your belief system is. I don't care where you come from. We have rules. If you don't abide by those rules, you should be held accountable. My problem is I don't feel that we're holding people accountable in all walks of life, whether it's immigration. If you go to these blue states, and sadly, Utah is a blue state. Okay, when people refer to blue states, I just want everyone here in Utah to understand that we are currently living in a blue state because of the corruption. Okay, so what I mean right now by a blue state is there's just a lot of corruption that you can see from judicial activism, the different laws, right? We're going to let people go. You can commit 72 crimes and then go and murder a girl, and then we'll hold you accountable because of the public outcry, right? Utah does this, not to the extreme, but Utah does still let individuals go. Now, I don't mind a first-time offense, especially that is nonviolent, being let go and being like, here's a slap on the wrist, please don't do it again, move on with your life. But as you become more and more of a repeat offender, I would definitely like to see an increase in the amount of judgment placed upon you. I think that just makes sense. Like, I don't mind having a little bit of compassion for individuals, but here's the deal. You didn't follow the rules, and the rules are, and have been for a long time, just not enforced, were that if you are here illegally, we can deport you and we can send you away. So you're here illegally, we're going to deport you and we're going to send you away. I don't see a problem with this. So I'm going to jump over to this X post. This is Senator John Curtis. So he's the Utah senator. I'm not going to read that. Let's just actually listen to what he has to say here. So
Control.
There we go. Yeah. Okay.
Anybody but me, right? And the best thing I can do is set my example. And I think all of us need to wake up every morning, look in the mirror and say, what are we doing? What am I doing specifically today to make this country a better country, to make all of our immigrants feel more welcome? That's what we've always had. And I think if more of us would do that, it would matter less what individuals said.
Right.
Okay, so she's asking, because of Donald Trump saying we don't want these Somalis in here, she reaches out to she asked John Curtis about that, and John Curtis is like, I can't control what other people can do. I can only control myself. And what I think we all need to do, so again, he's kind of implying, not that he has control, but he's like, but other people should do what I'm doing, which is, I need to wake up every morning, look in myself in the mirror and say, what can I do to make our immigrants feel more welcome? And not only that, he said all immigrants. That's what I heard. I think he writes our. I want to go back. Let's hear this again.
I'm doing specifically today to make this country a better country, to make all of our immigrants feel more welcome.
Oh, it's both. To make all of our immigrants feel more welcome. Now, here's the deal. How do we define immigrant? Is he saying that all the illegal immigrants should feel welcome? Is he saying all the criminal illegal immigrants, the ones that are actively committing the major crimes, I will say, which is why I'm kind of like being redundant when I say illegal criminal, right? Like if I'm using those both, I'm kind of referring to not only are they here illegally, which is a crime, but the ones that have committed heinous crimes. Let's say that this abuser actually is a child abuser, okay? The guy from the Salt Lake Tribune article, let's say that he's an actual child abuser. I don't want him to feel welcome here. I don't want people to feel welcome here that don't accept our values as Christians, as Americans. I don't want them to feel welcome if they are not willing to participate. And why is it on me? I didn't invite them here. I never wanted them to come in the first place. Okay, there is some immigration that I wanted individuals to come, sure. But the majority of Americans originally used to be very much in favor of border security. Other individuals, other Democrats just 10 or we'll say 20 years ago were also advocating for a strong border. You can't have a country if you don't have a border. And I don't know how or why people voted for John Curtis. He is one of the worst senators that we've ever had. He's obviously just a replacement for Mitt Romney, who's another one of the worst ones we've ever had. And I don't get why we vote for these people. Can you please leave it in the comments? If you think I'm wrong and you think we do need people like John Curtis, please put it in the comments. Let me know. Hit me up on X, Reese J. Crockett. I want to understand why anyone wanted to vote for this man. And I look at this comment. You know what I do when I wake up and I look in the mirror? You know what I say to myself? Sure, I actually do say the first part. What can I do to make America better today? By being the best father and Christian I can be. Now, I understand having compassion. I understand having a desire to help those that immigrate here in the legal fashion, who obey our laws, who understand our values. I don't mind having compassion for the criminal and understanding that sometimes people are just evil and sometimes we just have to remove them from our society and sometimes people fall in hard times. But compassion doesn't mean that everyone needs to feel welcome here. Okay? Not all our immigrants. Okay? First off, not all immigrants. Second, who the heck is our? They're not mine. I had no say. And guess what? The American people did say, and they voted and they had a mandate for Donald Trump to say, stop the immigration right now. And to be honest, I think the majority of Americans are actually pretty compassionate to immigration. I think the majority of Americans are okay with refugees. But sometimes when you let in 11 million illegal immigrants into this country, and we don't know who they are, we didn't vet them, and they just come in, there becomes a problem. At which point, I think it is reasonable to ask for a moratorium. Okay? The way I see it is, let's just compare it. We'll make the analogy to the house. I'm throwing a party and I'm inviting my neighbors over to this party, and I have plans. I made plans to have enough food and enough drinks for those in my neighborhood, knowing that they were going to show up. And you know what? Some of my neighbors invited a couple family or other friends from outside my community, but I planned for that. I expected a couple extra to come into my home and have this party. And then for some reason, the whole city just starts showing up. And I'm like, whoa, hold the phone here. I didn't invite you over here. You're destroying my home. You're eating all of my food. You're taking from me. I didn't plan for this. So they're not all our immigrants because we didn't want all of them to come. Again, I'm not against some of it. I think immigration is great, and I am okay with immigration when it's controlled. But there comes a point where you just go, okay, I need everybody out of my house. All of you, all my neighbors, everyone who came here, I know I invited you, but I need you out for a minute so I can repair the damage that has been done. And then maybe I can pick up my party and invite you back. Okay? There are too many individuals who are coming to America because we are the wealthiest country. They just want what we have. And when people say that we were built on immigration, I agree. People immigrated to the US and they helped build this country, all the immigrants. The problem the problem with their philosophy and ideology, though, is of those that say that like we're built on that, is the people that came here they came here to build America. The people who are coming, not all of them, but a lot of them that are coming now are coming because America is great and has things, and they want those things. That's the problem. So, do I agree that we need to be nicer to some of our legal immigrants to this country? Sure. I think a lot of individuals have probably been caught up in this battle, and they're like, wait, I did everything right. I want to be here. I'm actually here to build America. I'm not here to take from you. Okay, there are some individuals out there, and I am grateful to you and thank you. But please stand with me and recognize that a bunch of people came into this party and they're breaking apart our home, and they're trying to change the values of those who already lived here. They're making fun of our ways of life. Okay? When my problem is I don't care if our economy fails because we don't have enough people, right? Because here's the issue. Boomers are hitting their mortality cliff. They are the largest generation in US history. And every generation after them has only gotten smaller, which means our population is decreasing. or will begin to decrease, I should say. We are below replacement rates at this point. We aren't even replacing ourselves. And to be honest, Gen Z seems to be having a very rough go of it, and they're not having children, and they're going to be postponing it. And a lot of people are postponing it so far that at that point, they're not even going to be able to do a replacement because all they can have is like one child anyways. So we're going to be shrinking. And the left's argument, it seems, is we need to bring in all these people so we can keep the economy afloat. And from my perspective, I'm like, I could care less about the economy. America has gone through worse things. The world, the populations of the world have gone through worse things. What I don't want to lose is my values, my culture, my family, and my beliefs. And that is what is getting destroyed as we invite more and more of these, as uninvited people more and more show up to our country to take from us, to take from Gen Z, Gen Alpha, those who are to inherit this country. They are coming in, and that is my problem. And that also, I think, is what's happening to Utah. As Governor Cox raises the budget from $20 billion to $30 billion, and even before Governor Cox, we've always tried to be this business-friendly place and let's boom our economy. And it sounded good on paper because it's like, ooh, we're all going to be rich and wealthy and everything's going to go up. But what's happening is we're inviting more and more people from out of state who don't share our values, don't share our culture, and they're taking over. And we're going to lose what made Utah Utah in the first place. So just as there's an argument for heritage Americans, I see a value in heritage Utahns. And I'm not saying that other people from other states can't come here, and I'm not saying people from here can't go to other states, but I am saying I think there needs to be some controls specifically for the nation. And I understand you can't control on the state level, other than we probably shouldn't be incentivizing and trying to bring in outsiders to our state to change it. It will only change and get worse. And here's the deal, Utahns. We need to recognize that the GOP in Utah has become corrupted. I'm not saying literally everybody, but the GOP is corrupt. We've got some real corrupt problems going on right now that we need to get taken care of. And the more people we invite in, the harder it's going to get to fight it. Their established control, and I lean more right, their established control has led for them to have the ability to allow for corruption, right? The more that any system becomes stagnant and becomes a thing and encroaches, what's the word I'm looking for? Entrenches itself, the more that happens, the more that corruption is going to seek out power, and they're going to force their ways in. And I'm sorry, but corrupt people do not have our best interests in mind. And as I'll end with this, as Jesus said, there will be wolves among you, right? Wolves in sheep's clothing. And that is happening real time right now. And unless we wake up, we're going to have some very worse, horrible situations happen to us than if we wake up and actually start doing something about it now. So my argument, let's get this guy out. Let's get him. I want him gone. No more Senator Curtis. He is ruining our state. He's ruining our country. I don't think he's doing much good. So again, if you disagree with me, leave it in the comments. Like and subscribe to this video. Let me know what your thoughts are. I'd love to read comments and find out. You can find me on YouTube and Rumble and X at Reese J. Crockett, or just the title of the show is Reese Crockett. And until next time.